What's up, people? In the replay, I don't think there's anyone actually here right now. This is very sporadic. I'm actually waiting to go into a movie right now. I'm going to be seeing Infinity Pool. I just wanted to talk about Scream 6. Obviously, that's the thing everyone's been talking about. It's the thing we're all probably going to be talking about for another couple months here. We've got a little under 2 months until it comes out, so there's going to be a ton more Scream 6 content. I want to talk about a couple things, specifically the theories. There's so many crazy, wild theories out there, and I'm pretty happy to see all these theories. What's up, Denisha? What's up, Ghostface Fanatic? I don't know if y'all heard. I'm actually waiting to go into a movie. I got here really early. I'm going to see Infinity Pool. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start a live and see if anyone shows up and we'll talk about Scream. Yeah, the theories are wild. There's so many floating around and it's kind of great. I didn't really start looking into YouTube videos, theory videos and stuff until after Scream 5. So this is kind of my first experience with all this, seeing what people have to say before the movie. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen after the fact, and I'm this is something I want to bring up to the other creators and stuff that we all watch. Sometimes be like, hey, when you go see your, go look back at your videos you made before Scream 5, how do they hold up? Like, did your theories have that much wild weight to them, or was it just more like subdued theories? But yeah, there's just so many things I'm seeing out there, like things I never thought of. And I saw Marcus over at I Shot Him Six Times. He thinks he had a theory about Charlie Walker from Scream 4, and that's something I had never even considered because I was pretty certain Charlie passed away. So I don't know. I mean, it's something we can't discount. But yeah, there's just so many theories, and I've been thinking about it because the trailer, a great trailer, but everything, it made a point in the trailer to say it 3 separate times that this Ghostface is something new. There's never been one like me before. And, I'm something different. And a lot of the theories I'm seeing, they're not different. I mean, they're cool theories, but they're really just something that's been done before. So I was thinking about it a lot because it's kind of all we're thinking about right now, most people. And I think I've narrowed it down to 4 categories that would make Ghostface different, something that's not been done before. So category 1, which I think is what we're thinking, is going to be the cult. That would be something different. And a cult does sometimes have the hive mind, so they could still refer to themselves as a singular person, which would make sense. So a cult theory would be good. That's what I'm hoping for. Sorry, I'm looking at messages here. See, and that's the thing. I see what you're saying, Ghostface Fanatic, with that Stu comment, and that's another category. So category 1 would be a cult, multiple people acting as one. Category 2 that we haven't had before in terms of a Ghostface would be a previously surviving victim. And we have several that could fill that space in Scream 6. I think a lot of people are thinking Kirby's going to be a Ghostface. So she would fill that. That would be new if we had a person who was a victim in a previous movie come back as a Ghostface in this one. That's a new category. Personally, I don't want that. I don't think logic is with that, but I mean, it's a movie, so it doesn't have to be logical. But yeah, a previous victim turning into Ghostface, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around. So I'm not really on board with that theory. Now, the third category would be a Ghostface who was participating in a previous movie survived without us knowing. Now, in my opinion, there's one character who fits that bill, and that's Mindy. I was, kind of suspicious of Mindy at the end of part 5 because she just got stabbed in the shoulder, y'all. She got stabbed in the shoulder and she passed out for like the entirety of the third act. Meanwhile, Chad, he got shanked in the ribs like 5 or 6 times plus the stab in the leg, and he was still kicking. So if it was revealed that someone we thought was a victim in a previous movie was actually a ghost face helping out, that's a new category. And really quick, Denisha, honestly, I don't know what Infinity Pool is going to be about. I saw a trailer. I know it's a horror movie. It's got Mia Goth. It's got Alexander Skarsgård. It's got a good cast, and the director is a pretty well-known director. So I'm like, I'm going to go, I saw the trailer, but it was kind of like an abstract thing where you couldn't really tell what was going on. And just based on that, I'm like, I'm going to go see it. So that's all I know. So those are 3 categories so far. The 4th category, as we've already talked about in the chat, someone brought up, would be a ghost face we thought was dead, but they aren't. That's the 4th category. Those 4 things would be new, would be something different, because everything else we've kind of seen so far. We've seen a partner of a main character. We had Billy, we had Richie. We've seen a relative of a previous a previous movie. We had not Dr. Loomis. My brain instantly went to Dr. Loomis. We've had Mrs. Loomis, obviously the mother of Billy. We also had Roman, the long-lost secret relative of Sydney. We've had kind of the hired gun. I've heard a lot about a hired gun theory going around. And honestly, we kind of already had that as well, because we had Mickey. And I love Mickey. Mickey's one of my top 3 Ghostface killers. But he really was just kind of a hired gun. When they lay out what happened, Miss Loomis literally went online to find an active serial killer to help infiltrate Sydney's friend group and carry out her revenge plot. So we kind of already had the hired gun thing too. And with Richie was technically Sam's boyfriend, but also that relationship was completely manufactured. He was a stranger who infiltrated that group of people specifically to carry out the plan. So now, technically, there is a 5th category, but I really don't want it to be the 5th category because that would be taking away an element of Scream. And that would be a complete stranger. And here's what I mean by taking away an element of Scream. Scream has been, first and foremost, a whodunit. It has been a whodunit since its inception, and every movie since then has been a whodunit. Now, if they make it a complete stranger, it won't be a whodunit anymore, because one of the foundations of a whodunit is you have to be introduced to a killer without knowing you're introduced to the killer. And in that way, it couldn't be a stranger. Like Debbie Salt would be the best example. And that's, you're introduced to her. She's sporadic in the background, but you're introduced to her. Now, she was technically kind of a stranger, but you still got introduced to her. So if it's something like that, that's still, she fits in another category, but that would be the closest thing to a stranger that would be good for a Scream movie. By the way, what's up, Marcus? I just mentioned you earlier in your Charlie Walker theory. I didn't expect anyone to show up. I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, if you are just showing up, I'm actually waiting to go into a movie. I'm seeing Infinity Pool here in about 50 minutes, and I'm like, I just want to jump on and talk about Scream. If no one shows up, then they can watch it in the replay. But yeah, and this is really just talking about the theories and what could really be different about Ghostface. Carrie, I know you're making a video on it, but can you tell me what the theory is? Can you give me a little bit to go on, because I've heard so many, and like I said, I think they're good, but a lot of them are just, you know, I think a lot of them are things that have been done before, and I want it to be a little new. I know it's a really tough line to walk with radio silence, um, in making something fresh, but also sticking with the DNA of Scream, and that's a really tough job. Like I said, I'm not saying I could write a good one. I hope they make a good one. I do want it to be new, and since they're saying it so much in the trailer, I'm hoping we do get something new. And a lot of the theories people have been putting forward don't seem to be. Like, let's see here. I've heard a theory that I'm just going to go through a couple of them. That it could be Stu's parents, because now we obviously they lost Stu in part one. They lost their grandson in Vince in part five. There's theories that Leslie Mocker could be behind it, Stu's sister, but I don't want that, if I'm being honest, because that's just a rehash of the original part two. You got Leslie, the you can give a snippet. What about a reverse Casey Becker? A reverse Casey Becker, like Tara? A reverse Casey? I'm so lost on that. Do you mean like, I'm assuming it has something to do with Tara, because Tara was the Casey Becker of part five, and I've heard some people say that Tara Tara might be the Ghostface in part six. Uh, Here's the thing, like if you're saying that was staged, that was way too much damage to be staged. Like, and I'm not saying it couldn't be that way, but in my opinion, that's a plot hole, because who are they staging it for? There's no one there except for the audience, so that would kind of be acknowledging that they know it's a movie. But anyways, you said no, not Tara. What do you mean? Sorry, I'm trying to. The chats disappear here. Oh, Samara. Okay, so here's the thing. We don't technically know Samara is going to be the opening kill. It's all assumption right now. I gotta say, ZZM, a lot of people, I think the fandom's kind of 50-50 on Stu. Personally, I know myself, and I think most of the people who would probably be in this chat right now probably think he's alive. I've always tried to stay away from saying he is alive. I try to lean toward the fact that he could be alive. I don't think it's ruled out at this point. So I'll leave it at that. But Samara, are you saying like Samara would be the opening kill but not really be dead? I'm so intrigued by a reverse Casey Becker. We'll see how it goes. I'll have to come watch your video. You need to throw it out already so I can go watch it, because I'm just kind of mystified right now. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling, y'all. There's so many things to talk about. What are some of y'all's theories? I'm just gonna keep going through the ones I've. Samara being from the Ring. That is interesting. I don't know what her character is gonna be, because as far as I saw on IMDb, she's still just credited as the actress. Which, that's all, from what I understand, we have. From what I understand, that's all we have about her character too, is that she's an actress, probably in a theater, and I mean, I think the assumption so far is that she's going to be the opening kill, more than likely coming out of the theater at night. We know the alleyway where she's seen in the trailer. We definitely see Ghostface in that exact same alley. doing a little slicing and dicing. Sasha, okay, that's cool. Yeah, there was apparently there's some character names being thrown out today that I wasn't aware of because apparently Henry Cerny's character has an official name now. I believe it's Dr. Christopher Stone, which could be a callback to part three because Stone was the bodyguard for, oh, what was her name? It was Gail Weathers' on screen actress. Oh wow, I hate that I forget the name. Parker Posey played the character. Jennifer Jolie. Thank you. And by the way, hello Sarah. Once again, everyone, if you're just coming in, this is very unplanned. I'm waiting to go in a movie, and I'm like, I'm just going to jump on and talk. Yeah, Stone was the bodyguard for Jennifer Jolie, who got killed. There was also an Easter egg for him in the shrine. If you look really closely next to the fax machine, you can see a frying pan, which is what helped kill him because he got stabbed in the back. Then Ghostface hit the knife with the frying pan, hit him over the head with the frying pan. He still walked away from that, though. He was a pretty tough guy. But apparently, Henry Czerny's character is going to be Dr. Christopher Stone. And, of course, that sheds a little bit more on the theory that he could be Sam's therapist, who she appears to be talking to in the trailer. From what I had heard, that was supposed to be a kind of a fun surprise cameo. I don't think that's the case now because it would make sense if he's... Although you can be a doctor and not be in the medical field. I had professors, multiple professors in college when I was getting my theater degree that were doctors. I don't know how it would go. He's probably going to be the therapist. Here's the thing though. That would kind of be rehashing part two as well, because remember what Sydney had in part two. She didn't have a therapist, but she had her theater director who she went to and kind of gave her advice on getting through things because she was going to drop out of the play, and he talked her through some stuff. So if we have Henry Czerny's character doing that for Sam, y'all, it's really closely mirroring Scream 2, and I'm like, I don't know. And that's why there's been another theory, as I said, that the Mockers were going to be involved, specifically the parents of Stu, grandparents of Vince. And if that's the case, then that's just like a 100% rehash of Scream 2. Because we had Billy's parents, we had Miss Loomis get a hired gun, get an active serial killer, go in, take their revenge. If that is what happens in Scream 6, that's not new at all. That's very much been done already. So, what are y'all's theories? Let's see what y'all think. I know Marcus, you said you're finishing up on your part 3 of Charlie Walker, man. In terms of Charlie Walker, I appreciate him, I think, a lot more than most people, because I think he did some work as Ghostface. What he did to Olivia, he put in some work, man. I don't think most people appreciate Charlie Walker as a Ghostface because he didn't have much outside of that. And that's one of the biggest reasons I don't think Charlie would ever come back, even if he was alive, because he just didn't have that big of an impact. He's like always ranked low in the lowest of the Ghostface rankings because he didn't have that much of an impact on the movie. He was very much subservient to Jill. And I think having Jill, such a really good Ghostface, next to him kind of made him look even worse. With Billy and Stu, they were both amazing. Miss Loomis and Mickey. I think Mickey kind of outshined Miss Loomis a little bit, but they were still really good characters. Roman didn't have anyone to contend with. When we got to Jill and Charlie, Jill was just so out there that it made Charlie seem a little I don't know, it just made him seem not as significant. And that's the reason I don't think they would bring him back even if he was alive. Personally, I think it was just a continuity error, man. We talked about that photo where you see the knife going in, and it is dead center on his heart. Um, and he remained laying there the entire time while Jill finished, quote unquote, finished off Sydney. She put herself through all that stuff. Like, he would have been there bleeding out for a long time. And now Kirby survived. So Kirby would have been there too, and Kirby would know if there was any other survivors. And especially with her being in law enforcement now, it would have been. I think it's just things adding up more and more to make it unlikely that Charlie would come out of that. But I mean, it's a movie. I can't say, no one can discount any theories right now. That's the thing. No one can discount anybody's theories because we haven't seen the movie. What's up, Craven? Yeah, I'm about to go in and see Infinity Pool. I just had some time and was like, I got some time to kill. I'm gonna jump on and talk about Scream 6. Do I think Jill? Sorry, I gotta look at that comment really quick. Sorry, I'm on my phone here and it's so Jill. I don't think Jill's coming back either. I've been pretty vocal about this one. So Jill got hit with a defibrillator on the head. Now here's the thing. This is going to be kind of word for word what I've said before, but electroshock therapy used to be used back in the day as a form of like health care. They did it, and this is real life as well, obviously. They did it to people who had, mental health issues, thinking they were helping them. It was a form of torture, honestly, and that caused memory loss. That caused just complete loss of brain function, and it even killed people. Now, when you do electroshock therapy, you use like between 75 and 100,000 volts of electricity to the brain. Jill got hit with a defibrillator, and that uses 3,000 volts. So, if Jill is alive, which I don't believe she is, she would have no brain function left. And after that, even after she got, the defibrillator to the temples, she got shot straight in the heart by Sydney, and Sydney laid on the ground next to her, staring into her eyes. We actually fade out while Sydney's looking at her, and she's not moving, she's not blinking. I think the ending for Jill was, if I was a betting man, I would put more money on Charlie being alive, if I'm being honest, and I don't believe Charlie's alive. So between those two, though, Charlie got stabbed in the heart and the gut, and you could survive those things in the right circumstances. I don't believe he had the right circumstances, but even if he did, he wouldn't have any loss of like brain function. There was nothing that would stop him outside of just those injuries. Whereas Jill, even if she did survive, the defibrillator to the head and the shot to the heart, the defibrillator to the head would have still just decreased her brain function tremendously. She wouldn't be able to function well at all, if at all. And we saw after that she was moving, but she was kind of stumbling forward. She couldn't talk. She was just kind of, I don't know, she was just kind of moving. That was it. And then she got shot in the heart. So I don't think she's coming back. If I had to put money on it, I would say there's two possibilities for a previous Ghostface to come back. Stu, you gotta have Stu. In my opinion, I think he's the most likely. I think it fits the best if it's Stu. Everything here just fits Stu, in my opinion. And the second one would be Angelina. Now, Angelina obviously wasn't confirmed to be a Ghostface, but if she comes back, it's really unlikely. And I gotta credit, Craven Something Scary for me getting on the Angelina train, because before he brought up a specific point, I was always just accepting the fact that there was only one killer in Scream 3. Roman was the only one, and that was that. There's a part in the movie where he told me, he's like, watch this part and just count or look how much time it is between these two things happening, and it's physically impossible for there to be only one. And that's the part where Sydney's on set. She's getting chased. The door, she's holding the door off. Ghostface is just pulling the door, trying to get in. And then all of a sudden, they stop pulling the door. And there's like less than a second between that and then on the complete opposite side of the set, Ghostface popping up. So it's physically impossible for a person to get that, even if there was a way around it. If he could go above or below, there's no way he could let go, stop trying to get into that door, run across, and jump up and grab Sydney from the other side. It just is not possible. So I do believe Angelina was Ghostface out. She's not confirmed, but I believe she was. And if she came back, that would fit into one of the categories. One of the categories I said that would be new would be a previous Ghostface that we thought was dead coming back. That's one of the four. And if you're here, we're talking about the fact that this new Ghostface says that they're new, they're different, something you've never seen before. And I broke it down into the four categories I think that I could come up with that would be new. And that's a previous victim becoming Ghostface. Unlikely. I don't think it makes sense logically. A complete, well, that's kind of the fifth one. A previous victim becoming Ghostface. Someone who was a Ghostface in a previous movie, but played victim, like if Mindy were to be revealed Ghostface now, but she was actually Ghostface already in part 5 because she was kind of sus. A previous Ghostface we thought was dead, not being dead and coming back, and then a cult. Multiple people acting as one. That would be, those are the four categories that would be new. The fifth category that would be new, as I said, would be just a total stranger. But if they did that, that's taking away the whodunit element for Scream. And that's, for me, that's one of the three things that makes Scream what it is. So if they took that away, they're just turning Scream into a generic slasher, and that's the last thing I want to see. Right now, Angelina as a special cameo, boy, would that be good. That would be nice. Here's the thing, what if Stu and Angelina came back together? That would be crazy. Because here's the thing, if Stu was alive, he could have communicated with Roman in part 3. Because Roman was going through all this. Stu could have communicated with him in some way. And then that would give a tie to Angelina as well. But here's what would be really cool with Angelina, in my opinion, is if Angelina was alive and still no one knew that she was involved. Like, she went into witness protection because she was still thought of as just a victim who got away. Wouldn't that be crazy? Then we find out, like, oh my God, what, 20 years later? That would be great. That'd be great if she pulled it off for this long. Yeah, that's just kind of, I don't, going back to the theory thing, a lot of the theories I've heard, while they're really good, they just kind of would be rehashing of things that have happened before. So at this point, I don't want a secret relative to come forward. I don't want it to be the relative of a character we already have. She wasn't on the official kill list for part 3. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Was Kirby on the official kill list? I don't know that either for part 4. Maybe that's something y'all could let me know, because that would be here's the thing: they can always retcon things like that, because we do know that Kevin Williamson said Kirby, Kirby died, but it was Wes's plan to start a new trilogy with her. I So if she was on that kill list, that'd be interesting. If she was on the death list or kill count or whatever you want to call it from that movie, that'd be interesting. Personally, what do y'all think? Do y'all think Kirby's going to be a ghost face? I don't think she is. I really don't want her to be, but I think she's either going to be a ghost face and get killed, or she's going to get killed. I don't think. You don't think she'll be a ghost face, Steven? Okay. I don't. What's really getting me the most is the fact that Sam has her gun. And I know there's plenty of explanations that could go with that. If Kirby and Ghostface were in a little scuffle and, excuse me, her gun got kicked around and Sam, it was just happened to be close to Sam, that would make sense. But I don't know why I have this, like, deep down in my gut feeling that on the other end of Sam pointing that gun, the still from the trailer where she's just pointing and we see that projection. I don't know why. I just feel like if it were to pull out and give us that Wes Craven, that Wes Craven shot versus the radio silence shot, that we would see she's pointing at Kirby. And I don't know. Something's telling me that's what's happening there. And I don't want it to be the case. Yeah, I don't think they should bring a character back to make them the killer. Now, if they brought a character back and it was revealed that they were a killer or helping out previously, I'd totally be cool with that. But I don't know what their plans are with Kirby. The thing about it, there was that tweet that was deleted from one of the Paramount accounts where it basically said, like, Ghostface was coming back, and Fate decided made a video on this, and he couldn't verify the authenticity of the tweet or anything, but it basically said Ghostface comes back to redeem themselves or something like that. And then that started pointing or redeem itself. It did specify that it didn't specify a gender. I think to add to the mystery of it, but yeah, that Ghostface was coming back to redeem itself or to finish something like that. I forget the actual wording of the tweet, but that's also coincidentally what's been said about Kirby this whole time, was that to see her, and Jenna said this on the red carpet for some event, saying it was really cool for Kirby to come back and redeem herself. You think Kirby sadly shrine in the third? Okay, yeah, the third act is we're all pretty much certain that it's going to be in the shrine. Will be one of the last victims of the movie. This is what I'm feeling right now. Okay, yeah, I don't think she's making it out of this movie. I think she will go out protecting someone. Yeah, I think she'll go out protecting someone, and I'm okay with that. I don't want her to come back and be a killer. I think after, I don't know, just logically, I don't see a ghost face going through that. Or, I'm sorry, a victim going through that trauma and then coming back and inflicting that same trauma on other people. I don't see it. It doesn't logically flow to me. And they could do it. Like I said, it's something we haven't seen before, but I think there's a reason we haven't seen it before. I don't think a lot of people would care for that. Kirby, Tara, and Joel are the killers. If I was a betting man, I'd take you up on that, because I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Joel, I'm trying to remember who Joel is. Yeah, I don't think Kirby or Tara are going to be killers. I think they're just the whole thing with Tara and that angle, that photo and the angle. I saw some. I think it was actually Podcast Now was doing something where someone was saying that if you flip the photo upside down or something, the angle could be. Um, oh, Joel from part two. Y'all, let Joel, let Joel go. He was the smartest person in the entire Scream franchise. What happened when he saw stuff going down? He got out. He left. He didn't come back till it was over. That's a smart man, and I think he would be smart enough to not get involved with from um, anyone from the previous movies because he knows better. But yeah, Craven, I agree. I was watching his, and I commented on it that just the physics of it wouldn't make sense if the image was flipped, because I think the implication was that if you flip it, it looks like she's actually standing over someone. And I pointed out that her pupils are at the top of her eye, so she's clearly looking up, and her arms are, by her head, which means if she is looking up at someone or looking down at someone, then she's also being held upside down. Like, there's no other way to physically explain what's happening on her, with the way her body is, other than she's hanging on to something or someone. And it does look like she's hanging on to Sam. That whole thing is going to play out very... I can't wait to see that, because there's so many unexplained things from that. It's just... yeah, I don't know how it's gonna go, because it just seems, I don't know, man. That is the most puzzling part of the trailer to me, is how that's gonna happen. And my favorite theory so far, and that with the whole Terra thing, we've all seen the picture of that angle, and I've only got about 5 more minutes, y'all. Then I gotta head out and go see my movie, but I'm gonna finish up with this theory. My favorite thing that I saw, so that angle that we see her from, where everyone says she looks kind of sinister, she looks, evil. Someone best explained it that I heard it, and they weren't told anything about it. They just said, "Look at this photo and tell me what you think about this person." And when they saw the photo, they said, "It looks like she knows something that we don't know." And I thought that was a great explanation. But anyways, previously in the trailer, before we see that, we hear Tara say, and it's spliced together, but she says, "We lure him in," and then she says, "We kill him." Now, if you take those two, if you take that statement or those statements, because I think they're two spliced together, if you take those into consideration, I think what could be happening there is that they've gotten these ghost faces there. They've literally lured them into this trap, and that's the point where they start enacting their plan. Excuse me. So, Tara, because the whole thing was, we're supposed to be really worried for Tara because she looks like she's going to fall. But then we see Sam being thrown off, and we know Sam survives. So it doesn't make sense. Well, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they're setting that up because they know Tara would be okay if they drop her. And that's why it's okay. Like, we see, she looks like she's crying. She looks like, she thinks she might die, but in reality, she knows she's not going to die. And that's where it kicks in. She's, that's the point of the plan where they start fighting back. Sam drops her, then Sam takes it to Ghostface. And Tara maybe has something going on down below. I don't know at this point, man. There's too much. And I was, Steven, I don't think you were here earlier in the stream when I said I didn't actually get into the communities here until after Scream 5. So I wasn't aware of all of this. I wasn't present for any of this kind of setup for Scream 5. So I don't, I was wondering how people's theories and stuff held up for Scream 5. So like we're all making these theories now for Scream 6. We'll go see it and then we'll know what happens. So like for instance, what was your craziest theory for Scream 5 that now you look back on it and you're like, wow, they didn't really pan out. But I'm wondering if like all these crazy theories, all this wild stuff we're thinking, if we're just going to go see the movie and it's going to be like pretty basic, because most of, if you think about like motives, most of it's been pretty basic. So we're thinking on this really high level when most of the previous stuff has been pretty low level. But by the way, Destin, I did see your question. I'm going to see Infinity Pool. Yeah, I wasn't even aware that it was coming out this week. And then I forget what I was doing. I think I was uploading something and I saw an ad pop up saying in theaters Friday, so I got a ticket. But yeah, that's the thing. Tara becoming a ghost face, I know there is reasons. I can't really disprove that theory because, we already know that her and Sam are going to be at odds in this movie because Sam being a helicopter parent. And here's the thing, if that's the case, and I don't feel like she would have enough time to be a ghost face killer because it does look like she's with Sam the entire time. And if I was a betting man, I'd say Sam's probably been with her ever since the end of Scream 5. Because that's just kind of what helicopter parent would do. So I don't know, would she have the time and availability to do these things? That's kind of one thing that you have to have. We know Stu was able to do it because his parents were never around. Amber was able to do it because her parents were never around. Roman was able to do it because he was the director of the movie. Miss Loomis was able to do it because, well, her family was pretty much gone or dead. Yeah, I don't know. None of the ghost faces so far have had, that kind of person really paying attention to the movies. A lot of them should because they were children, and that brings up another point. The parents in the Scream movies are just awful. Like, we need to call DCS on all of them because they just abandon their children, y'all. Like, I don't get it. So, yeah, I don't. Y'all, there's just so much. I'm trying. I don't want to sound negative, and I feel like I've been coming across that way for the past 2 or 3 days. But I'm trying to rein in my expectations because a spoiler will never ruin a movie for me. I've had movies like I've completely known the endings going in to movies, and it still doesn't spoil it a bit for me. It doesn't ruin it at all. I still love the movie 100%. What ruins movies for me is if I get my expectations so high and then I go see it and it doesn't live up to those expectations, even if it's a great movie. It's happened 2 or 3 times here in the past 3 years where I'll hear a lot about a movie, how good it is and stuff, or I'll get my expectations really high because of all the potential, and then I'll go see it and it just doesn't live up to what I thought it was going to be, and that detracts from the movie for me. So to be honest, these past 2 or 3 days I've been trying to bully myself into being it's going to be a standard Scream movie. It's going to be a by the numbers, and here's the God's honest truth. I would be okay with that. I know a lot of people wouldn't. I know a lot of people are they're done with the formula and all that. Personally, I'm not. If I went in there and it was a run-of-the-mill Scream movie, I would still be ecstatic because you can tell the same story 100 times, 100 different ways and make it interesting. You just gotta be a good storyteller. I think, based on Ready or Not, we know Radio Silence has the ability to be those good storytellers. Based on Scream 5, they also have the ability to be okay storytellers. So What I would really like is for them to tell a, for lack of a better phrase, run of the mill Scream movie really well. Do that for me. And that's exactly right, Steven. Run of the mill Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson is gold standard. If once Radio Silence can prove to me that they can make a run of the mill Scream movie very good, then start taking chances. Because if you can't tell the base story, if you can't give me that great opening, if you can't give me that meta commentary, if you can't give me a good whodunit, then don't start trying to add really out there things to that. Because if you don't have the foundation built well, then it's all going to crumble anyways. You can put flashing lights up there, you can set it in a different, big city, but if the foundation isn't there, then the movie still isn't going to be good. So, and I don't know, I just have this sneaking suspicion that their big hook is just that it's in New York. And if that's it, then that's not really much. I agree, Craven, that the meta-aware commentary isn't going to be there. I've heard several people who are really, really diehard fans, and then several people who are like new fans, like they've just recently discovered the movies. I've watched a lot of trailer reactions, and a lot of the same thing comes up, is that they think it looks like it's turning into just a run-of-the-mill slasher. And I don't want that to happen. If that happens, and they don't understand what Wes was going for, because that's not what Wes wanted to make. That's not what he made. He made 4 movies, and none of them were run-of-the-mill slashers. Ghostface Fanatic. I don't think Gail's going to be Gunner. I don't think she will. They killed Dewey. They don't have Sydney right now. Possibly they do in 7. But I don't think she's going to be a goner. I think she's going to live. I don't know how. I don't know what's going to... Ooh. I'm in a parking garage now. I don't know if y'all can hear that car horn going off. But, yeah, I don't think Gail's going to go. I think she's pretty safe based on everything else. I think it would be either Gail or Kirby. I think Kirby's more likely to go. Sorry, 1 second here. Gotta pull up what Destin said there. You think the movie ends with the Gail scene and her dying? That would be interesting. That'd be a cliffhanger. Which is another thing, by the way. The whole cliffhanger thing, I think it's very well apparent what I think about cliffhangers. But I was reading something the other day where it said that Wes Craven specifically avoided cliffhangers in the movies. I don't know if that's true. Steven, if you know, then let me know. I shot him 6 times. Okay, I get you. I'm like, Rebecca in Scream 4, what's going on? And then I realized, I keep an eye out, because there was one stream where Destin said, oh, by the way, there's something behind you. And it like freaked me out for the rest of the night. I was like, is there really something behind me? Like, you really messed with me there. All right, y'all, I've only got about 4 more minutes here, then I do need to jump off. But yeah, okay, Steven, yeah, he changed his mind. He didn't do cliffhangers, and I think that's a good reason. Here's the thing, like, if there's a cliffhanger in part 6, it's not going to be the end of the world. It won't, because we already know we're going to get a 7. I do worry about them actually their follow through with the cliffhanger, whether or not they'll write a good story. But here's my thing: when you left Scream 1. When you left the theater, or when you finished watching it wherever you were, it wasn't a cliffhanger, but did you immediately feel like, I want to know more? Like, that was a great movie. I can't wait for the next one or for another one. because I did. Anytime I watch a Scream movie, and so far none of them had cliffhangers, my head has always been, I wonder what they're gonna do next. And if they do a cliffhanger, I feel like they're just literally saying, "Hey, you have to come see what we do next." And I think if you're a good storyteller, you don't need to do that. That's I've always been of that opinion. I think cliffhangers just they're I would be okay with a cliffhanger if there's also resolution within the movie. Like if you don't give us anything at the end of Scream 6 except a cliffhanger, then I don't like that. If you give us a resolution and then you add on top something new, like this story's done, but we're essentially teasing the next story, I'm perfectly okay with that, because that gives us, that's good storytelling to me. Like Back to the Future 2 cliffhanger. I'm trying to remember Back to the Future 2. 3 was the West. 2 was he went into the future? Saw his kids? Is that the one where Biff got the magazine? The sports almanac? Doc got zapped in the sky. Oh, okay. I guess. I'm still trying to remember. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, see that? That was a resolution to the current story, but then it set up the next story. Like if they tell us who, we get reveals of the ghost faces at the end of 6. And then we find out there's another ghost face. I'm okay with that because we got some resolution of the story. We got a complete story. But then we find out there's another chapter, which you can read if you want to, but you don't have to. If there's something you tell me I have to come see another movie to figure out what's going on in this previous movie, then I'm going to judge you really, really hard. Like, you shouldn't have to do that to get me to come see another movie. You should make a movie good enough that I want to come see another movie voluntarily. All right, you all. Unfortunately, I do have to go. Thank you so much for stopping by. This was really unplanned. Like I said, I had some time to kill and was like, hey, I'll jump on and talk. I don't think anyone's coming, but if they are, then they can watch it in replay. Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, I do agree. I do think Samara's going to be opening kill. And yes, if anyone's wondering, I am going to see Infinity Pool with Mia Goth, the ever-growing presence in the horror community, and I cannot wait to see how she does. I'll probably do a right out of the theater reaction as well. I'm going to try to do an actual review tomorrow, non-spoiler. But yeah, I'm going to jump off here. I love you all. Have a wonderful night. Everyone be safe. Have a good one.